You don't know how sweet I am. You don't know how sweet I am. I am what I am, and I am sweet. You don't know how sweet I am.
Yo, check this. I might not be what you want me to be, so you might not see what you want to see. But if you got a minute, listen to what I gotta say, cause it's a brand new year and it's a brand new day. See, there's a gap between my culture and the life that I lead, so some will call me an apple, and some a bad seed. They have no idea how my heart will bleed. Their words and attitudes are things I just don't need.
You don't know how sweet I am. I am what I am, and I am sweet.
You see, I'm proud of who I am, and I'm proud of where I'm from. Those ones spreading racism, they're just fucking dumb. Now, if you're looking at my life and you say I've assimilated, to simplify things, just a little more complicated. See, I'm a modern day native with a modern day life. I have modern day problems and modern day strife. Now I hear other natives, they talk about the past, and will I do the same? Fuck that. See, I've got no time to dwell on what's already done. I've got too many things that I want to do, and they don't include knives, and they don't include guns. I'm talking about knowledge and sharing it too. See, my people need to learn how to cohabitate, get rid of the anger, and get rid of the hate. We gotta stop for a minute and learn to educate, and you'll see in the end, we all have to communicate. I know there'll be a time to make a stand and a time to fight, but if you do that, make sure the cause is right. Because if the cause is right, and the cause is just, greater numbers of people will be backing you up. History has repeatedly shown to us all that united we stand and divided we fall. They were talking about natives and natives alone, because this is a big world, and this world is our home. Now I've seen some beautiful people, and ugly ones too, and there's no single color that comes into view. So the message I'm sending, it's not all that long. It's just, I want the human race to be stronger than strong. I said I just want the human race to be stronger than strong.
You all have to be strong.
Done it. Word.
We all have to be strong. Peace.
This is a message for the youth.
Yeah, that's right. We're saying this is a message out to you, because we hearing what y'all listen to. And if y'all do what you do, because you do what you hear, and this is for you. So perk up your ear.
That's right, perk them up. Because this is straight out to you, the youth.
Yeah, to the youth. This is straight up knowledge. The kind of shit you won't get in no college. To the youth, tell the youth.
Now, you can check out this native MC, trusted and true. This is native hip hop with a new attitude. Y'all might have noticed I'm a little bit older, but my attitude is a whole lot bolder. I keep my eyes over my shoulder for the younger MCs around that corner. Now y'all think you're gonna replace me? Ha! Come on up here and face me. And if you think that I am crazy, you haven't seen the half of me. So go ahead and try to stress me. But if you just talk about the way my woman dresses me, then you haven't got a clue on how to mess with me. That's why your shake ass rhymes ain't impressing me.
Yeah. That's right. So I hope y'all youth are still listening. My homeboy, he's still whistling.
know I'm tired of young MCs talking about the chicken shacks, when in your rhymes is truth that you lack. I don't need to talk about the women who rub my skin, trying to get inside my pig pen. But if those be the girls that you like,
Recording in
you gotta get
progress.
your blood spiked. So you better stop before you show your love. You better double up on your penal glove. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Because when it's raining outside, you take an umbrella. So before you pump her, you better wrap your thumb.
That's right.
Ani, bonjour, wache, scano, tant si. Good afternoon, everyone. Up to Jesus ko Indigenous. New credit Dunjaba, Makwado Dem, Mississauga Yendao. My name is Faith Rivers, And today we're going to be speaking with Mark Sault, elder from the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. Mark learned many of his teachings from respected elders of Northern Western Ontario while working in Thunder Bay with the Seven Generation Education Institute from 1990 to 2014. He retired in 2014 and returned to his home territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit, where he was born and raised. And today we would like to thank Heritage Mississauga and the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation and the Rotary Club of Mississauga for the support to help us bring Indigenous conversations to a wider community through the webinar series. And I'd like to introduce Mark Sault on his talk for the for fire, miigwech.
Oh, okay. I lost you there. Okay, but Megase, Yakina Maga and then additional cause, Megase Dorum, Mississaugas of Credit and Binjaba. Okay, before I start anything, I will generally smudge everyone, but I can't, so I'm gonna smudge. I'm gonna give you a virtual smudge. Maybe if I can light my match. And this is what we're talking about today. Now, why we smudge? To get rid of negative thoughts, negative energy in the room or wherever we are. And I can only see a few of you, but I'm going to give you a quick little smudge on the screen anyway. But and why we smudge our ears? So we hear good things, we see good things, and we speak the truth, good words when we're talking. Anyway, we're going to talk about not just the sacred fire, fire in general, but we're going to start with sacred fire. We've had the sacred fire for generations and generations, and it's used for so many different things, but it's usually for when we start a ceremony, any kind of different ceremonies, and we have the fire itself, the traditions and protocols that are followed in order to uphold integrity and sacredness of the fire. There are many lessons to be learned with the fire. Okay. Now I'm going to go with the protocols when we do have sacred fire. I'm going to move my smudge over here somewhere. Hope I don't burn down my house. But anyway, because the fire is sacred, there are specific protocols in place to keep the sacred fire pure and burning brightly. Only sacred items like we have here. We have the sage that's allowed. Because generally when we have a sacred fire, we will have the medicines in the four directions, the directions that they represent. And the sage represents the east. Everything starts in the east. That's why we always have our sage in the east. And when you come into the sacred fire area, you always enter from the east as well. And you don't have to, but most people will take some tobacco and offer it to the fire. And then they'll move along to southern directions from the east, because we go clockwise when we go. And we'll have sweetgrass chopped up there, broken up, that you can also offer to the fire. to the sacred fire. And we move on to the west as we're going around. And we'll have tobacco. Lots of different tobaccos there to offer to the fire as well. And by the way, tobacco is our most sacred medicine. It's one of the first ones we got. And when we get up, we keep going. Well, actually, I made that wrong because the south is cedar and the north is the sweetgrass. Anyway, once we've completed our circle, offered our tobacco and sage and things to the fire, we're actually offering this with our prayers because our ancestors are coming to visit generally when we have these sacred fires. And this is our way of offering and getting our message up to the Creator. Yeah, and other than those 4 sacred medicines, we also will sometimes put food like a feast plate in the fire. That also is for our ancestors and the spirits that have come to visit us. And in some instances, not all instances. And we also might add some water, just a bit of water. We're not going to put a lot of water in it, but we have it generally, say, for if someone passes, like we've just had I've just had a couple of relatives pass in the last few days, so but I don't think they will be having a fire, either one of the families. But if they did, it would be for 4 days, and then the fire keepers, someone. See, when we have a fire, like anywhere, I wrote down a list where we have these fires sometimes. It's never left alone. And it's not that we train fire keepers, they come, they help, but generally only the fire keeper is allowed to put things into the fire, like the wood and things, to make sure it's kept going. But it has to be kept burning the entire time. If it's for 4 days, it has to be kept burning for 4 days. So, and like the fire keeper, you got to have more than one fire keeper because it's 24 hours and you're not allowed to sleep while you're being a fire keeper as well. So, and anybody that comes in and offers tobacco or any of the medicines to the fire, they're asked to keep a positive, respectful, and open-minded to nurture the positive space for everyone involved in the experience of the sacred fire, and to promote clear communication between us and our ancestors. So that's one of the protocols. Yeah, because there's so many people have fires for different reasons, and so the most important thing about sacred fires is their purpose and how to participate in one. Sacred fires have long been part of Indigenous culture and wellness and are still used today as an important part of Indigenous ceremonies and communication with our ancestors. Now I'm gonna some of the things where we have sacred fires, okay? And I've already mentioned we'll have one when someone passes. We'll keep that fire going the day they have passed. Generally, it will be lit and it will burn for 4 days. And that's your time to come for relatives, friends to come and to say goodbye to the spirit, because that spirit is there to greet you. And then on the 4th day, that's generally when the spirit starts traveling. So if anyone's available, we'll even generally sing them a traveling song, like with the drum, and sing them a song so that they'll go on, the spirit will go on to the next world. Yeah, so anyway, and the other things that we use when we have sacred fires, like powwows, there's generally a sacred fire when you go to a powwow, and that's when you're allowed to go. This generally always the same setup, generally a sacred fire. and you're allowed to go and offer your tobacco, your sage, whatever you're offering. But a lot of fire keepers, even if you bring your own tobacco, they won't allow you to use it. You use the tobacco that's supplied for you. Because that happened to me in one instance up north when I had some nice leaf tobacco. So I went into the fire, or by the fire. I had it in my hand, and the firekeeper says to me, "What is that?" Because they don't see leaf tobacco up there much. And so I told him it's tobacco. I says, "I brought it for the fire." He just looks at me in the eyes and he says, "Not in my fire." So I wasn't allowed to put my leaf tobacco in their fire there. So, but that was fine. I used their tobacco, as you know, it's their protocols and their rules. So, and like the firekeepers are generally on the ball, pretty strict, making sure nobody throws a cigarette butts or any kind of garbage or paper in the fire, because it is a sacred fire. And we don't want to be offering that kind of stuff to the creator or our ancestors. So, yeah. And another time we use sacred fire is before a sweat lodge when we're heating the grandfathers. Because what we do, it's like a lodge is built around with the logs, firewood around the grandfathers, the rocks I'm talking about. Um, and that's how we heat up the grandfathers with that sacred fire. And it's the same, well, not the same protocol, different protocol, sweat lodge, but eventually, before you do go into the sweat, you are generally offering at least tobacco to that sacred fire to to give you a good start with the spirits that you're inviting to come visit you. So, and another one, the fires, not just sacred fires, but I got a couple more things I talk about of the fire, but the purpose of the sacred fire. The fire is traditionally used to start a ceremony or a sacred event. Not only does a sacred fire provide a respectful way to open an event or ceremony, but it plays a distinct role in the event as well. The sacred fire is considered a spiritual doorway that opens to a spiritual realm so that individuals can communicate through the fire. It is used to connect with our ancestors, communicate with them, and ask them that they respect our prayers. Overall, the sacred fire is used as a place to gather and celebrate. Often it lets us reflect on purpose on earth, either as the long beginning and birthing ceremonies or at the end when we go back to the spiritual way. So those are some of the other things that why we have the sacred fires. Like we had a lady who worked at our daycare in our community. And actually we have a men's group and a drum group, and one of the guys were actually a firekeeper. Well, a few of the guys were the firekeepers for that one. But the men were meeting that night, and we meet every Tuesday night. And we usually sing a few songs. So instead of going in the building, we all went over to the fire, and we sat there for a couple hours singing songs. And a lot of the daycare staff came in as well and sat there, and they said they really loved that we were there, not only to keep the fire, but to sing those healing songs for everyone, because that's a big part of it too, that the songs that you sing, they're healing songs. So I can remember the first time I felt the drum in my heart. I was actually in our community center, our old community center, and I was actually standing in the kitchen, working in the kitchen, and they started singing an honor song. I didn't know it at the time, but it was an honor song. And I stood there and I almost started crying. That's how that felt. So that's one of the things as well. Let's see here. Okay. Now, the sacred fires. Okay, they're sacred because it is used as it's one of our traditional wellness approaches. So it is an important part of indigenous spirituality, communication with the spirit realm and our ancestors. It's a sacred practice meant to make individuals feel open, grounded, and connected with people on earth and those who have moved on. Now, we I mean, you'll see fires in the community. People have fires, like they have them in their yard, and it's their own personal fire. Okay, they may want to have more prayers of their own. Like myself, if I praying as well, I'll use my pipe. That's pretty much the only time I use my pipe. It's just for prayers, and sometimes I'll use my pipe when we drum. Before we drum, we'll smoke the pipe. Everyone at the drum will smoke the pipe and stuff. And that's the same thing. Fire and the smoke, it's all going up. That's carrying our message to the creator. Okay. Yeah, because we have fires at any kind of gathering or a ritual ceremony. And then usually it's a fire keeper themselves that will come and start the fire, because it's the man's duty. It's not a law or big ruler, and it's just one of our traditions that the men are the fire keepers. There are some female elders who sometimes will be doing the smudge. They will not even light their smudge. They'll ask a male who is there to come and light it for them, because or the fire makers. And so cover that. I got a little something here about that. Traditionally, men are the fire keepers who maintain and watch over the sacred fire, while women attend the ceremony. This can vary depending on tribe or nation and the type of ceremony taking place. And most important part of to understand is there are certain people assigned the role of fire keeper, and they are the only people allowed to disturb the fire and stand watch throughout the ceremony. So some fires, they're not, they're not burning for 4 days, 2 days. It could be just a few hours while a ceremony is going on. Then after the ceremony is done, they just let it burn out. So yeah, that's part of mostly the sacred fire stuff. Some of the other, I don't want to say protocols, some like it could be, I know I've heard at some of the lodges, they're not allowed to use matches or a lighter. So they have flint sparklers or things like that. And one of the things is this little thing here. That's a piece of chaga. This is one of the medicines I use a lot of now. But when I was introduced to this about 35 years ago, or even longer than that, maybe 40 years, it was the guy showed me. They put one spark, just take one spark on this for fire, and it'll start burning. This thing will burn. This little chunk would burn for a long time. But if you put your whatever you're using to start your fire, put around it and blow on it, it will start that fire. So that's one of the things they use as well for fire. One of our great medicines. This is so. But I use fire, not sacred fire, just fire. Okay, I do a lot of cooking myself. I lye the corn with it, and that comes from the fire. The ash is from the fire. I make my lye from that hardwood ash, and without that hardwood ash, I couldn't lye my corn. And the ash from any fires, they're used for a lot of different things. Like I know people put them in smelly places that kills the odor and things like that. They use it for, instead of salt, they'll put it on the icy places so you don't slip and fall. But that's one of the things. And when I do my spring sap, it's not so much when I first light my fire. I do offer tobacco because it's going to be boiling my sap and turning into syrup. And we have lots of fire there burning. So, but I mean, we use fire for like heating our homes and things like a lot of people still do have fire stoves, and that's good. That's where I get my ashes from my corn soup and stuff. So, but that's about it on sacred fires. And I mean, there's a lot of other uses for fires as well, but I'm not going to go into all that. So, but I guess we're open for questions now, or I see Jamie. I don't know.
Mark, is
Yeah,
there a certain kind of fire, wood that you use for a sacred fire?
not not really. As long as it's firewood. I mean, I prefer using hardwood all the time, dry hardwood, but I I'd say generally that's what we, unless we have pine, that's a softwood. And I will use that kind of wood for starting fires, but it's generally hardwood, at least here. I guess if you're somewhere where you don't have hardwood, you'd have no choice but to use the softwood, which is the trees with needles. That's the softwood.
Okay, I'm just looking through the questions here,
Okay.
and do the ashes after cooled get returned to the earth?
What?
What
Do
do you
you?
do with the ashes after the fire has went out when they've cooled?
Yeah.
Do they get returned back to the earth?
Yes. Well, they are generally on the earth. And if it burns, a lot of times it burns right down to, it would be like the lye, just the powder. And sometimes it blows, but we will spread it a bit before if we're going to cover the hole up. But if it is a fire pit all the time, then a lot of times we will leave the ashes there because eventually it is going to go back to Mother Earth anyway. So
And maybe I missed it, but what kind of ash do you use for lying corn?
hardwood, it's got to be
Hardwood.
hardwood. Yeah,
Okay.
because you use softwood lye, it won't take the shell off of the corn. It won't do a thing.
Okay, another question from Julie. Are sacred fires left to burn out or do you extinguish it?
No, we generally let them burn out. Somebody's generally there watching to make sure, like, if it has to be stoked a little bit, the firekeeper will make sure it all burns down to just the ashes. Because you don't want to leave, chunks of wood and stuff there. So
Okay, so from someone else here, can you tell us a little bit more about the chaga? Is it a medicine and a fire starter?
yeah. I was gonna bring in a big chunk of chaga and show you what it looks like coming from the tree. But this is the inside of the chaga, this piece here. Okay, and yeah, fire starter, you can use the inside, the outside wouldn't start. It's hard like a rock on the outside chaga. And before we use, like I'll put it in chunks maybe this big, but I like to break them up smaller because it will make tea a lot faster. And when I do make my chaga medicine, I get the water boiling. I put my chug in, however much I'm making. I have bigger teapots because I do a lot of different medicines and teas, and I'll put my chug on usually before I go to bed at night, and I'll let it simmer overnight, like 6 to 8 hours minimum. I let mine I let mine go to make sure it's getting all the good medicine. And you never boil it too hard, because when you do, you boil all the goodness right out of it. Any kind of tea, really. So that answer your question about?
Yes, yes.
All right.
Okay, so a little bit more about the chaga from what I've learned anyways, is that's where Western people, the Western medical associations, get their chemo from. This is where it started, because chaga is used as a cancer medicine. Plus, it can also be used as a to lower your cholesterol. Those kinds of wonderful things that if people don't want to use the Western medicine, then they can use and drink the chaga. So another question is the chaga from the birch tree?
Yes, the white birch. And you're right. Chaga's used for, could be 50, 100 different things. Depends on who's using it. I use it because I've had cancer, and I actually make it for a few people right now who are battling cancer, and it seems to be helping them. So, but some people like it's the spirituality of our medicines as well. Okay, you not only have to make it for them, and they have to believe it's going to help them as well. So, in a lot of cases, it does. Like I've heard some good things about it. It's also good for diabetes as well. Chaga, it brings your sugar level down. And actually, I'm making something for my brother-in-law right now. Not chaga, he just finished chaga. So, but he had a couple of tumors there over a month ago now, and yeah, probably almost 2 months I've been making him chaga. And just last week, my sister sent me a message saying the doctor is so surprised, and nothing but good news. He says he can't even feel the tumors now. So, but mind you, he's on another medication from the doctor as well. But both of them together have seemed to made his tumor disappear altogether, which is good.
Okay, another question is it a mushroom?
Yes, it's in the mushroom family. And I'm allergic to mushrooms, but I still use it. So and it doesn't make me sick like a mushroom would.
That's
Yeah, it's
interesting.
the mushroom fungus family. You can.
Okay, so there's another question about, so what is chaga?
What is chaga?
Yeah.
Well, that's what it is. It's in the mushroom family. It's a fungus. Grows on the white birch, and it's not the easiest thing to find. I usually collect mine when if I'm harvesting birch bark. That's when I'll keep my eye out for chaga, and if I see some, and if I need it, I will take it. I'll always offer my tobacco first before I take it. But if I don't need it, I'll leave it until I do need it. I had one nice piece about this big I found one year, but I didn't need it, so I left it. And it's around the lake where we have our camp. And so when I did need it a couple of years later, it took me 2 more years to find it again. It was hiding on the other side of the tree. I kept walking by. But
Okay. Is it being harvested to extinction?
I hope not, but I know a lot of people are harvesting and selling it as a business. That's why some people don't like that I share information I do about different medicines, because then people go and find it and take it all. But see, chaga will grow when a tree is hurt, like lost a branch or something. That's generally what starts the chaga growing. And see, this one is still kind of soft. This is the inside. And they say if you take it off and it's still soft in the middle, it will start growing again because it's still healing that tree. But if you take it off and it's really dry and hard, this part, then it's done healing that tree and it won't grow back. But it will grow back if it's still soft. So
Okay, so how does the chaga start?
it starts from a broken branch. It'll start there, healing the tree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I also learned too is that the darkness on the outside of the chaga is
Yeah.
the real good medicine. That's the part of the medicine that is used for cancer in chemotherapy, right? And so if you try to, because what some people try to do is they try to break that chaga and they can't because it's encased, it's locked in. They can't do it. You can break it up into pieces and stuff and use it that way, but all the dark black stuff on the outside is like the really good stuff, but all of it is great.
Yep. Yeah, I mix mine. And when I break mine up, I'll take a chunk about yay big and I'll put it in a cloth, and I'll take a hammer or something and break them down to little chunks like this. And then if I bought a rasp way back when, I don't even know where it is anymore, but I'll make powder. But out of both the outside and the inside, mix them together. Because when you use chaga, you can reuse it 3 to 5 times. Okay.
Hmm.
But when I reuse, I'll take a tablespoon of the powdered stuff that I made just to make sure I'm still getting the good strong medicine out of it. So
Yeah, that's what I tell people when I give them medicine is that you can use that 3 to 4 times afterwards because it's got such good, strong medicine in there.
yeah.
Okay, another question is from a grade 6. Why is tobacco used?
Why?
Why? Yeah.
Gee, I don't know. Just kidding. No, we offer we offer tobacco for anything we take from Mother Earth. We're thanking Mother Earth. We're thanking the Creator for it. Like even when I'm taking sap from my maple trees, I always give thanks. And then I give thanks when I'm done with the tobacco. It's not for smoking. That's not why we have the tobacco. We smoke it in our pipe, but not just tobacco. We use kinnikinick. There's different things like the inner bark from red willow, mullein is all part. Different people make their kinnikinick tobacco for the pipes, and then they'll add some of the tobacco to it. I always add some tobacco because sometimes just the kinnikinick is really strong. And if you happen to inhale a little bit, you're not supposed to. It's rough on your throat. But yeah, no, that's why we use tobacco. Like I said, it's the first gift from the Creator to us, first sacred gift. And we offer that all the time. Even if I'm going out just to say a prayer, I'll put down tobacco to say a prayer for someone. So generally, even before I do something like this, I would go out and put tobacco down to ask for some good words from the Creator. So
One of the things that I wanted to go back to in regards to the fire is when and you might have touched on this a little bit earlier, but when you see a community who is struggling, who may not have unity or may not have their spirit of the community. So I remember earlier what you had said is to light that fire to bring that remembering that because we all carry that blood memory, right, of that sacred fire. And when you light that fire for the community, what does it do for us?
well, we've actually been talking about this for about a month of trying to have a monthly fire for the community. It it brings people together, and it allows them to talk. And even if we pass a feather on, if we're doing a circle, that they'll feel safe around that fire. And we'll smudge everyone who comes in, and you're just there to communicate with each other. You could tell stories, legends. You have anything you want to share with people there. That's one of the things we're talking about, because when you do see it, when we do have a fire like the one we had for the lady there that passed away at the daycare, and that was great, and people loved it, and that's kind of where the discussion came from of we should do this more often, like, and get community. We could have the drum there, and it'd be great. So
Okay, that's amazing because that's what's going to happen. Just to let you know, so you're on my radar.
oh,
Okay, how long can you keep chaga?
how long? Well, when it's dry, I'm saying it's going to keep as long as you want. It's just like our food that we dry, like our corn, our wild rice. Once you dry that, that's good for years. As long as you keep it dry, cool place, it's good for years. So, and chaga, some of my chaga I've had for probably 3-4 years, I'd say. Some of it. That's why I'm not harvesting any the last few years. I haven't needed it, but now that I'm making more medicine for more people, I may need some, but I'm not going to go and harvest it if I don't need it yet. So big
We'll
lesson.
work together on getting medicine, so we're good there.
Yeah.
With habitat loss, are birches endangered?
Around here they are.
Yeah.
We used to have more birch, more ash, but we used to have a lot of fires, and that kind of cleaned out most of the birch. It's coming back very slowly, but our biggest birch I see around here is maybe that big. There used to be a couple on our property over there that were about that big, but of course they got cut down or something. They're gone now, but there's a few more coming, but I don't know if we'll ever have like they do way up, say, past Thunder Bay there. They have enormous birch trees. That's where they get the bark for our canoes. One piece of bark almost make a whole canoe. But next year I hope to go up there and help them harvest the bark. So
Oh, nice.
yeah,
Okay.
I harvested around our camp or outside of Sudbury and I took a machine, but I mean there's some big trees, but there's a lot of dead trees falling over too, and that were big. So
Let's not share our secrets, Mark.
okay. Oh, I was
Let's
here. I
not.
was going to show you on my phone how I do it.
Okay, here's another question. Where is tobacco found? Grade 6.
Where's tobacco found?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about any wild tobacco anymore, but generally people grow their own now for their tobacco. But
Yeah.
a lot of people will use even cigarettes. They'll go to the store and buy tobacco, like pipe tobacco. And because when people have given me tobacco, I've got tobacco in every stage. So plus I grow my own anyway, but that's what I use when I'm offering, or I'll use their tobacco. I mix it in with my tobacco from my pipe as well. So, but tobacco is tobacco, and that's why a lot of times you'll see people with cigarettes come and offer you a cigarette. That's tobacco, but people have to learn when you get tobacco offered to you, like when you have it in your hand or tobacco ties, it's not to be put away and save for 100 years. It's to use to go and put out. You can put it on the ground. I generally put mine by a tree, but water, you can put it in water, giving thanks for that as well. So yeah, it's like I say, if you use it every day, or like I have little bags of tobacco in my vehicle, most of my coat pockets, my fishing tackle. And so as when we're fishing as well, we offer tobacco. Even if we don't catch fish, we're just giving thanks for having us there and keeping us safe and stuff. So that's always a chi-miigwech when you use your tobacco.
Okay, another question is, can non-Indigenous grow tobacco in their garden?
I don't see why not. I've when I lived in Thunder Bay, there was no tobacco up there at all, like anybody growing. So I used to take seeds and I used to grow it in my backyard. It wouldn't get very big because the season was so short up there, but I had tobacco. And of course, every time you grow a plant, they have little pods on top, and every pod has 100 to 200 seeds in. So I had a friend who worked, well, actually, I kind of sat on their little committee for a while, a gardening program at some of the schools. And they had a greenhouse. So I asked one of them that worked there to start me some tobacco plants in their greenhouse. So I had, those big trays, give me a couple of trays every year. So I had tobacco not only growing at my house, other people's house, at the university, Lakewood University, I think at the college, the hospital as well, and youth services program. I was sat on that board, so we had everyone had a medicine garden going. It's like I have one outside my house here, my medicines in each direction where they. So yeah, but generally everybody goes their own. But I say you can just go. People will use this. This is tobacco someone gave me, and all it says on here, natural Cavendish. So I'm not sure where it's from, but it's tobacco and it's ground up. Saves me from cutting my own up when I do, because usually maybe I'll take leaves and I'll just break chunks off. But it's so much easier to transport little bags of tobacco in your pockets and things. So.
Okay, another question is, are there other leaves you use as offerings and that are sacred?
Well, if like I say, if it's into a fire, we'll generally use any of the 4 sacred medicines: sweetgrass, cedar, tobacco, sage. We'll use those 4 things, well, along with the tobacco. So yeah, we offer those as well. Some people will always have sage to offer instead of tobacco as well. So, but other than that, the 4 sacred medicines, I'm not sure. Like I say, maybe the Kinnickinnic tobacco that's made. Generally when it's made, it doesn't have tobacco per se in it. It's other things like the mullein leaves. Some people put rose hips, just for flavor and stuff. But
Okay.
Yep.
Why are bird feathers sacred? Grade 6.
Why are bird feathers sacred?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know they all were, but these ones are. The eagle feathers are sacred. It's because it comes from the eagle, the mighty eagle, the highest soaring bird. And actually that's my name, Megazek. That's bald eagle. That's part of my name. But no, the feathers are sacred. A lot of them are used. I had a different one up here that's not. So many feathers kicking around, but I think this one is a turkey feather. Like some people will use turkey feathers to decorate and stuff. Yeah, I don't know who gave me this one, but I keep it near my eagle feathers, not with them. But and then other times you will see people with small feathers like this on their hats. And I have other hats. That's why I have these feathers there. I only have one hat with the eagle feather on, little eagle feather on, but I will put it on a couple more hats that I've had beaded. So, but yeah, so when you have feather in your hat, when you're at any kind of, it could be a ceremony, a celebration, when they're doing an honor song or anything like that, and everybody stands prayer. If you don't have an eagle feather, you have to take a hat off. But if you have an eagle feather, you get to leave your hat on. And so powerful feather.
Okay, another question is, the 7 grandfather teachings given to one person or many? We'd love to know the process. Well, the process and stuff like that we can talk about in a later date, but
So boy, That's a
Yeah.
tough question. Because a seventh grandfather teaching, that's a lot to learn. And it's not just, okay, you know what love is, you know what respect is. It's an all-day teaching for each one, at least a day. Not only just to know what it is, you got to live these things to actually know what they are. So, yeah, but I don't know. A tough question. I don't
Oh,
want any. I don't want any questions about creation story either, because that's like a 10-day workshop.
um, okay, I'm just going to answer this one question. Somebody came in late. Mark is speaking from the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation in his home. Do you need a special license to buy ceremonial tobacco, and where can I buy it?
Oh, I'm not sure. Like I say, all my stuff I generally harvest myself. I grow 'em myself. I know there are places like Ancestral Voices over on Six Nations. They sell a lot of things. They probably sell tobacco. I don't know if it's sacred. It's sacred. If you take tobacco and you smudge it, no, it's sacred. But homegrown, like Anishinaabe tobacco or tobacco, generally, it's sacred if you make it sacred. Because there's so much tobacco out there now. Like it wasn't meant for smoking. Let's just put it that way. So, and Kinnikinnick is a tobacco. Now, whether you want to call that sacred, because that is made for the pipe, okay, not to inhale, just for when you pray. That's what that tobacco is for, and that's generally what you use sacred tobacco for, like giving thanks and things like that. So, but whether you can buy it, I don't know. I've never looked for to buy. I usually trade one thing for another. Like I trade a lot of live corn for things. So that's why I end up with so many different medicines that people give me. I've never used, but I see it. I know what it's for. But until I actually need it or somebody needs it, I'll give it to them. I'll just pass it on to them.
So a lot of these questions are geared towards medicines, right? So I
Yeah.
just want to reiterate that today we're talking about fire, and I'll just ask this one last question. Can you make tea out of tobacco?
Tea out of tobacco. Well, I guess
Yeah,
you could. I don't think I'd want to drink it, but yeah, I guess you could. Like
that would be
the other couple sacred medicines, cedar and sweetgrass, they make tea with those.
the
And
tobacco. I think would taste very strong and bitter.
yes, it would. And I don't know if it had any medicinal purpose by drinking it. That'd be like maybe drinking nicotine or something. So I don't think I would. I've never seen or heard of anybody making tea with that. But the other medicines, like I say, sweetgrass, cedar, even sage tea, I've heard they use. So, but not tobacco. So.
So the other question I'm going to answer here is, we speak Anishinaabe here, Julie, and that's what both Mark and I were speaking when we first started. So in just looking at looking at the what we're talking about today in regards to the fire. And one of the things that I always tell people is go to your heart center. If you put your right hand over your heart center, that's where your fire is, your spirit, and keeping that sacred in there because nobody can touch it. And when we're dealing with all of these issues that Mark was speaking about earlier about death, fear, depression, all the mental health issues and stuff that we're dealing with, addictions are really high. And helping by building that fire. You're building that relationship within your community to become stronger and to be able to stand on their own, but also have the supports available. So when you sit by that fire and you feel that energy from that fire, and the fire moves and it's got different colors, and it talks, it does all these things in regards to helping people. So your fire is in your heart center and keeping that sacred. And when we smudge, I know for myself anyways, I smudge that 4 times before I start to do my head and my ears and my eyes and that, because this is where you keep your fire in your heart center. So I just wanted to share that little bit of information with you. And Mark, if there's anything else that you want to talk about in regards to the fire and our community, or yourself.
Well, I think we covered pretty well everything. It's just that when you are around a sacred fire, you have to have respect for the fire and anyone that's in, around. So that's the thing. Keep positive, keep the negative out. You got to remember, no garbage. Like we have, we have people in our group. Sometimes you catch them though. The firekeeper will catch them if they go to throw something in the fire. But you got to remember, it's a sacred fire. It's for our ancestors, the spirits. That's our communication. We're communicating with them. So when we smudge, same thing.
So one of the other questions that are here, and can you tell us about city programs that are making spaces for sacred fires? Are these programs working? Do people find them helpful?
Are they what? The sick?
Okay, can you tell us about city programs that are making spaces for sacred fires? Are these programs working? And do people find them helpful?
City programs like Toronto and
Yeah,
whatnot?
like Toronto, Mississauga.
Well, I know of, I just met a couple of guys last couple of years who actually one guy works at the U of T and he's the knowledge keeper there, and he does have sacred fires. He does do sweat lodges, things like, and there's more than him in Toronto as well. So, but they're there and they do help. Like they'll help anyone. It's not just for Anishinaabe, or it's anyone can go to a sweat, and it's you're going there to heal. Well, some say be reborn when you come out. It's like coming out of a womb, but yeah, it's up and coming. Actually, the guys were just talking about building our own little sweat by my sugar bush. Just even if we don't have a ceremony, we can still go in, sing songs, and but we don't want to attempt to do a ceremony if we don't know it properly. So, but we do have guys that we can bring in to do the ceremony. So,
I can also answer this question. We have put in, when I say we, I mean the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, who have relationships with the city of Toronto and the city of Mississauga. They are starting to put in fire pits in parks or whatever they're doing there, because it is part of helping the relationship between non-Indigenous and Indigenous people and the land. So there is fire pits located around, and Jamie could also, if you have any questions or whatever, just call Jamie at Heritage Mississauga. She'll relay the questions and all of those kinds of things. She's a great help here. And the fire pits, there's protocols, right? Because the fire departments don't want anybody starting a fire or doing this or doing that in the city. But if it's going to be used in a ceremonial way, that because in March, we do the winter solstice at Heritage Mississauga there, the equinox ceremony. And I don't know if Jamie has to get a permit, but she can let us know here. But anyways, people come at like 6 o'clock in the morning and we have this fire out there because it's a sacred fire. It's for ceremony. And it is amazing ceremony. So yes, it helps the indigenous people who are rural or who are in the city. So it does help. These programs are working, they're helping. And yeah, thank you for the question. The other question here is, can you use mullein in the fire?
Mullein?
Mullein, yeah.
I don't know why you'd want to put medicine in the fire, but that's not just part of Kinnickinnick. I use that. It's good for the throat and chest, lungs, mullein, when you make a tea with it. So I don't know. Like I say, it depends. If it's a sacred fire, I don't think I would add it because, like was said earlier, you have the 4 sacred medicines you use, or food, or a little bit of water. So that's generally all that's allowed. But I do have something here. Someone just emailed me, who was on here somewhere. My friend Mike Ormsby. Um, it's going back to what you were talking about. 2 fire teachings, and I'm going to just read what he typed here. Each of us carries a fire within, whether it's through the knowledge we have or through our experience and associations. We are responsible for maintaining that fire. At the end of the day, maybe we should ask ourselves, how is our fire burning? Maybe that would make us think of what we've gone through that day, if we've been offensive to anyone or if they have offended us. Maybe we should reflect on that because it has a lot to do with nurturing the fire within. And maybe if we did that, to let go of any distractions of the day by making peace within ourselves, maybe then we could learn to nurture and maintain our own fire within. So there's more here, but I'll just leave that with you. That's very interesting. Very good. Miigwech, Mike.
There's a lot of comments about they're very thankful for having this webinar and for people to learn. If anybody wants to, and this is the hard thing about people always want your information, or who's speaking, they want their information. I do not give out anybody's information unless they give me permission to do so. And if they're available to do that, then, you know, it's up to the presenter to do that. If, and Mark can tell us later whether or not he wants to give out his information. But I think that a medicine workshop is due with all the questions, Mark. I think that would be really good to do for people. And one of the things that I learned from my traditional practitioner up in Mississauga First Nation is when you are making sacred tobacco, because it's yours, you can put whatever medicine is speaking to you in that mixture. And it's so because it's yours, you do what you do with it, and you always offer, like Mark said, you offer before you take anything, or you offer to give a good talk, or, you know, all of those kinds of things. And to the water, somebody was asking earlier about where to place their feast plate, and Mark said, if you have a fire, then place it in the fire. If you don't have a fire, then place it in the bush, or place it away from where people walk or where pets can get at it or anything like that, or place it in the water. And the ancestors can take what they need from there. And the other question was asked about how long do we leave it there? Well, you leave it there for them. You don't disturb it, you don't take it, you just leave it there for them. And don't put out one of your glass dishes or anything like that. Just offer the food to the ground or to the fire. The fire has always been the center of any community, like way back when our ancestors were around, they always had a fire going. And they would always gather to do whatever it is that they're doing. And I can't wait. I can't wait for it to come back into the community and to work with you and the men's group and all of those to be able to offer this. I think it's very healing and very it's going to be very emotional for us to be able to do that and to actually have some place to go, because people always talk about we don't have any place to go or gather, right? And I think we need to find a permanent place where we can do that every month, and I think it's going to be really, really good medicine for us. So there's a lot of thanks. There's a lot of appreciation for today, and people are very grateful for Indigenous people for sharing their land with the settlers. Miigwech will keep the land going for the next few generations. That's amazing. Thank you, everybody, for participating and giving Mark the platform to be able to share his knowledge. Mark, if there's anything else that you would like to share.
No, I think I've well, I was only prepared to share about fire, but we got going on the medicines, teas and stuff. So, but that's another thing when I do like I'm going to be doing December 7th, making teas and stuff. I will have medicines like chaga and stuff there, but I don't make those. Once in a while I will make chaga, but usually I'll make cedar tea, Labrador tea, wintergreen, mint, and white pine teas. Just share, and then people have questions about them as well. They're all medicine, but I just say they're teas because people don't want to drink medicine, but they like teas. So it's all good for you. They're all healthy, full of vitamin C's, vitamin A's. So, but yeah, no, I think we've covered. I mean, there probably are there's a lot more legends and things that are on fire and how we discovered fire, things like that. So, but I'll just leave it at that. Sacred fire is very sacred to us, so we want to keep it that way.
So one of the stories that I'm gonna share with you as to the reason why our crows or ravens, whatever you want to call them, are the color that they are, is because Creator said to the bird, the people are freezing, so we have to figure out a way to get them warm, and because they were dying, and they didn't know about fire yet. So when the winged ones were looking down and they were talking to the Creator, and the Creator said, okay, so let's go and see what we can do about this. So one part of the story, like it's different wherever you are, wherever, whatever, who's ever telling you whatever, but they had said, since it could be the sun, it could be, another form of fire, but the bird went and got a piece of that fire. And because the bird was keeping the piece of fire in his beak, by the time he got to the people, his body was all black, soot, all of those colors. And so when the bird placed it down and showed the people how to make a fire, then this is how fire became. And this is why our crows or ravens are black. And the color black that they are, it almost looks like soot, right? So just wanted to share a little bit of that with you, and how we came to be, and how we had fire. Miigwech.
Thank you for joining us today as we continue our Indigenous Conversations webinars. We would like to thank Mark Sault for sharing his knowledge in this series and informing us on the importance of sacred fires through an Indigenous perspective. We would also like to thank Faith Rivers for her continued support in this webinar series and as a director at Heritage Mississauga. Heritage Mississauga would like to thank the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation and the Rotary Club of Mississauga for their support to help us bring Indigenous conversations to a wider community through this webinar series. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow us to stay up to date on upcoming programs and webinars from Heritage Mississauga as we continue to celebrate Mississauga's heritage through research, promotion, and learning.
Okay, Siguli. So just a sec here while I correct this. There you go. Siguli swagwag. Yeah, gal hindi niyo get swagi sliwagi ni wakitaloda. Anyone who has joined late, just introduce myself again. My name is Galahindi. I said hello everyone. My name is Galahindi, which means clouds passing over in the colonial language. I'm a member of the people of the Standing Stone First Nations, which is on the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, Delaware, and Huron nations, here on the area that we call the Dish with One Spoon Covenant Treaty Territory. And in a colonial context, it means I'm in the northern part of Turtle Island has been segregated and relabeled Canada, and within that confines of that definition, I'm in this area called southwestern Ontario. I say Yonko, Yukudona, or thank you, friends, for joining us. And Don, welcome in. Nice to see you. So, um, it was really good. I always love to share I have an opportunity to go to some of these Zoom meetings and whoop, share some of the teachings from elders. And so it was great to have this today talking about the sacred fire. It did get a little bit off topic when we were going into medicines, but I think part of it is that because everything is connected, interconnected in one way or another, it's a little hard sometimes to just um, talk about one thing without getting into some of the other things. So even when we talk about the water, we often talk about the medicines because they're connected in that sense as well. So it's just a natural progression of that conversation, I think, as it went on. So I hope everyone got something from that talk from Mark and enjoyed it. So what I'm going to do next is I want to, for those of you who don't know, there's an issue going on in Winnipeg right now where families are trying to get the government and organizations to search for some of our missing Indigenous women who are known to be in landfills and in Winnipeg, and they've been doing this fight now for uh, basically a year and a half or so, and it's still going on. They're still trying to get uh, their loved ones searched for so that they can be brought home and have some closure. There's actually two camps now. There's Camp Morgan and oh my goodness, what is the other girl's name? Camp Myron, which is at the Human Rights Museum in Winnipeg. So there's two different places there. One of the um, allies that have been there from day one is a woman named Taylor Orpin, and she's also a singer, and she offers song quite frequently um, to try to bring awareness and write about spirituality and write about the kind of the struggles the indigenous people are trying to um, move forward on. So I'd like to share her latest one, which she just actually posted yesterday on Facebook. So I'm going to get my mug off the screen so we can share this, and so you can hear one of our allies. This is Taylor Orpin, and let me get my mug off the screen here so you can see what we're looking at here.
My lady, you've been gone for a while. My lady, plant your feet in the soil. Sing every song you've kept it nowhere. Let your truth be known today. My lady, what magic lives in you? My lady, what is crying to come through? May you sing, may you dance, may you beat the drum. The old ones are calling on you now. One foot in front of the other, I call you home. One foot in front of the other, you'll come to know. One foot in front of the other, I call you home. One foot in front of the other, you'll come to know you. My lady, wild woman daughter, my lady, born of the water. Inside you lies a most ancient river. I call you here to remember. My lady, put your lips to the stream. My lady, awaken to the dream. Trust you are never alone. As the earth, the trees, the waters call you home. One foot in front of the other, I call you home. One foot in front of the other, you'll come to know. One foot in front of the other, I call you home. One foot in front of the other, you'll come to know you. Come home, my child. Come home, my child. Come home, my child. Come home, my child. One foot in front of the other, I call you home. One foot in front of the other, you'll come to know. One foot in front of the other, I call you home. One foot in front of the other, you'll come to know you.
Scully, there she is. So that was Taylor Orpin. Again, she has been doing a lot of allyship work in Winnipeg, helping the Morgan families and um, Mayan families, the families of the um, serial killer. Uh, Often, many, three, at least three of them, are actually believed to be in the landfills in Winnipeg, and they're trying to get their um, their loved ones searched for and brought home so that they can have proper ceremony and closure and start the healing process. This is a battle that's been going on again for a year and a half or so. So anybody who wants information, I think it's Camp Morgan. Oops, did I do that right? Yeah. So there's a website now that they have set up where they're going to be posting events that are going on, posting video when they can of different rallies that they've had, and just giving background as to what's been going on and where they are at this point. So Taylor is one of those people who've been there from day one, and so we've discussed her coming on and talking about how to be an ally and what it means to her, and the importance, because as much as there are land protectors and water protectors who are um, fighting to maintain uh, the safety of our land and water, sometimes the voices aren't enough. And we see this in places like Wet'suwet'en or in Standing Rock. You know, when if it were just the indigenous peoples, particularly in Wet'suwet'en because it's less known, is the land protectors there and water protectors were attacked by the RCMP. They were arrested. The men were beat up. They were forced into court in front of judge to stand in their underwear. Um, they were shackled and handcuffed in areas where others were not. It was just a real imbalance of treatment, and it was a form of humiliation in trying to deter them from continuing this fight. And it has to the voices are just not loud enough on our own to sometimes get that um, publicly made aware, create some public awareness. And so allies like Taylor and others who are standing with us really magnify the voices. So we do want to pay homage to the allies as well, because without them, we may not get our voices in the places that otherwise just can't get to. So I appreciate the fact that she's doing a lot of hard work to kind of uh, be a good ally for the families of the missing and murdered Indigenous women in Winnipeg. I will I'll play the very first song that she posted, um, which was called "Bring Our Sisters Home," and then I have two songs here from her that I'll share. One is called "Bring Our Sisters Home," which is the first one that she posted, and then the one after that is called "You Are the Medicine." So I will again get my mug out the screen. I hope you enjoy these. Go.
Down at the landfill we make a stand to bring home our sisters from the land. There's someone's mother, there's someone's daughter, the sacred guardians of the water. Let us face them. Let us sing to them. Let our sisters know that they are not forgotten, that they are not forgotten. Bring our sisters home. Bring our sisters home. Bring our sisters home. Bring them home. We're called to sing. We're called to pray. We're called to fight so that we might see the day where everyone is safe in the color of their skin, when the life of a woman is held sacred once again. We're called to stand, we're called to cry, to step into a new world and let this old one die. A world that loves, a world that feels, a world that cries, a world that heals. We're called to create the new world, called to create the world we've been dreaming of, and bring our sisters home. Bring our sisters home. Bring our sisters home. Bring them home. Bring our sisters home. Bring our sisters home. Bring our sisters home. Bring them home. Bring our sisters home. Bring our sisters home. Bring our sisters home. Bring them home. Bring our sisters home. Bring our sisters home. Bring our sisters home. Bring them home. Every step your truth be known. Breathe holy life back into your blood and bone. You are the earth, you are the sea. Open your heart and you will see. You are the medicine. You are the medicine. You are the medicine. You are the medicine. You are the darkness, you are the light, weaving the sacred web of this life. You already are that which you seek. You are your wildest dream. You are the medicine. 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 You are the medicine.
Sigala swagwag, Gala hindi niya gets wagi sli wagi, niwa kitaloda, anita gengwe wanage, ani, bojo danse, okinapi, how? Yanko yukutonga. And again, for those of who arrived late, always introduce myself with my original language. So, hello everyone. Galahindi is my name, and I'm a member of the people of the Standing Stone First Nations Bear Clan on the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, Delaware, Huron nations on the area known as Dish with One Spoon Covenant Treaty Territory. And as a young go, you go down lower. Thank you, friends, for joining. Um, what I'm going to do is I wanted to be able to post this without any kind of DMCA crap going on. So I'm going to raid out. I'm going to grab a snack and grab a drink and refresh my coffee. And I'll come back and then we'll do some music. But just so that I can get this posted without any issues. And then because I obviously I can't post the music streams just because of DMCA rules. But hopefully you guys can come back and join and enjoy some music. And I'll play some of the newer songs that I've just recently added. The other thing I also have to actually add them to the list so they can be requested because I have a bunch of new songs that I haven't actually added to the list, so you can't request them because you can't see them. Um, but so I'll probably be back in about half an hour or so once I kind of update things if I can. In the meantime, I'm going to play as I end each stream. I always play it with end it with a rendition of the Peaceful Warrior. I say that, although the last couple of times I haven't. We've ended with different things, but I'm going to end with the latest version of the Peaceful Warrior that was given to me, and it was done by our friend Faustian Organ. If anybody doesn't know who Faustian is, certainly check her out. Or I think it's just, I know I'm not spelling this right. That doesn't look right. That looks right. That's right. Okay, that should be right. There you go. Yeah. So there's a link here if you want to follow her or follow them. I got to get out of that habit sometimes of always uh, doing a. Yes, she loves to, or they love to play a lot of Star Wars songs on the organ, of all things. So, anyways, I'm going to get this going. I'm going to play her rendition or their rendition of The Peaceful Warrior. We'll go over and see another Indigenous streamer who's actually doing some Indigenous language stuff right now. So that'll be really cool. And so once I get this song playing, go ahead and grab the raid calls and then. And refresh your chat so that you're counted properly. And come with us just to say hi to Jalen Jean. She, again, is doing Indigenous language right now. And then I will see you guys a little bit later. And again, I appreciate everything. You guys being here is just so great. So thank you again for hanging out here.
My name is Faustine Organ, and I'm at war for peace. All senseless attacks I see must cease. So what am I doing here, and what do I really want to say? Is that this world has got to change its way. See, I'm going to battle for the red, white, yellow, and black. I'm going to fight for the ones who can't fight back. And I'm talking about all the creatures from the water to the sky. I'm talking about all the issues from the truth to the lies. I'm going to target the corruption in government. I'm going to target the poison in our environment. I'm going to target the injustices to the people. I'm going to hit every target or I won't keep still. And I'm going to battle the battle of battles. I'll shake up the cage until it rattles. Cause you're never gonna get rid of me, not until the problems of the world are cut at the knee. So let's keep passing around our information so we can improve this planet through education. Somebody has got to make the people aware. Somebody has got to make everybody care. So pass my message on if you dare. And whether it's mine or yours, we all got to share. Cause you're never gonna get rid of me, not until the problems of the world are cut at the knee. So with my voice and your voice, we can shout out loud that we belong to the human race and that we are proud. You don't have to be a master of science to say that we need to create a worldwide alliance in order to approach the corporations asking people for their subordination when they bring what's happening to our waters, and the diseases spreading through our slaughters. Well, I'm fasting again, and I'm at war for peace. All senseless attacks I see must cease, but I won't be able to move this world all alone. So just remember, this is also your home. So if I put my voice with your voice and we shout together, white people gonna hear us, and things are gonna get better.
Welcome in, everyone. Can we get a shout out for Dark Native, please, and thank you, mods? Everybody, please go follow Dark